Well guys, it seems that Pokémon Horizons is about to get serious and really good, since episode 125 was followed by a special preview that looks beyond episode 126 and showcases what awaits us in several upcoming episodes. And honestly, everything it shows is extremely exciting. So let's dive right in. One of the main goals that Liko and friends have moving forward is gathering Pokemon that are on the same level as the heroes and capable of Terastallizing so that they can lend their power to Pagogo, which will allow it to vanquish Laquium for good. As we learned from Briar back in episode 119, in order for Pagogo to unleash its full potential, it needs all 18 Tera Types. And the Pokemon that provide these types must be comparable to the heroes. Well, in episode 125, Liko and friends successfully rescued the 5 heroes, and thanks to Pagogo, all of them Terastallized, revealing their Tera types in the process. So Liko and friends already have 5 of the required Pokemon and Tera types secured. Throw in Rayquaza, who they still need to reunite with and will provide the 6th Tera type, and this leaves Liko and friends still needing 12 more Pokemon and Tera types. This naturally raises a big question. When they say on the same level as the heroes, does this mean they have to find Pokemon that are just as rare, unique, or legendary? Because the heroes include 2 actual legendary Pokemon, a Paradox Pokemon tied to a legendary, and 3 gigantic ancient Pokemon that have existed for over a century. At first, it felt like the bar was absurdly high, but this special preview seemingly actually answers that question, and it turns out that it seems the requirement isn't about being uniquely special, it's about being strong enough. It looks like Liko and friends don't need to hunt down 12 more legendary tier Pokemon. They just need Pokemon that are as powerful or very close to it. This must be why we see Liko and friends battling Anne, Penny, and Nemona in the preview. This strongly suggests that these battles will essentially be tests to see whether their Pokemon are strong enough to be recruited as part of the 18 Tera types. Now, my first impression when I saw these battles was that the setting resembles the Elite Four rooms from Scarlet and Violet. The bright, almost clinical green battlefield aesthetic is unmistakable. This really made me wonder if Anne, Nemona, and Penny will be treated like stand-ins for Elite Four level trainers. Will Liko and friends challenge them in a Pokemon League style trial to see if they are worthy? We can pretty safely infer the matchups too. The preview shows Penny battling Dot and Anne battling Liko, which means Roy will almost certainly face Nemona. This lines up perfectly with their existing rival dynamics. The way the trailer frames all of this, with dramatic narration, high stakes, and the characters mentioning how the final battle is close at hand and that they cannot lose, it's obvious that these won't be casual sparring matches. Instead, they will be either a recruitment process, a final test, or some kind of advanced training to push everyone to that next level in preparation for the climactic showdown with the explorers. This also implies that Liko, Roy, and Dot's Pokemon will likely be part of the 18 Tera types as well. All of this so far does make sense, because Terastal usually requires a trainer. While Pagogo can bypass this, most Pokemon still need a trainer in order to Terastallize. So perhaps this never was about finding strong and unique wild Pokemon, but instead about finding strong Pokemon with strong trainers that have access to Terastal. Anne, Penny, and Nemona are all perfect candidates since they tick all these boxes. Anne is especially interesting here because until now, she has never used Terastal, but the preview finally shows her doing so. She will Terastallize her Samurott, whose Tera type appears to be ground, which is unusual because of course, Samurott is a water type Pokemon. But since it knows Drill Run, perhaps Anne chose ground to maximize Drill Run while also removing Samurott's weakness to electric. It's also likely that its Tera type isn't water because this type will be covered by Quaxwell. So Anne and her Samurott will provide ground. Nemona, who is seen battling with her Pommet as always, will likely use it to provide a Tera type, which is of course fighting. Now Penny is shown using a Vaporeon in the preview, which is notable because in Horizons she's only used Sylveon, Flareon, and Jolteon so far. But of course in the games, she uses 6 evolutions, including the 4 she's used in the anime counting Vaporeon. So her having one is not surprising. However, I highly doubt Vaporeon is the Pokemon she will ultimately contribute a Tera type with. This role will almost certainly belong to her Sylveon. Her ace and main Pokemon, who appears in the poster shown in this preview, and is the Pokemon Penny Terastallizes in both the games and the anime. Sylveon's Tera type is of course Fairy. So Anne, Nemona, and Penny will probably provide ground fighting and Fairy Tera types. If we then assume that Liko, Roy, and Dot will cover the starter types, so grass, fire, and water, this gives them 6 more Tera types on top of the 6 heroes, bringing the total to 12 Tera types. This means Liko and friends will still need 6 more Tera types to have all 18. This is where Diana comes in. She and Pecharunt do appear briefly in the special preview, and they are even shown in the poster, which strongly suggests that they are going to play a role in the next phase of the story, and likely contribute one of the remaining Tera types. Given that Pecharunt is a poison and ghost type, one would naturally assume it will provide one of those two. But since Amejo will almost certainly cover ghost with Cerulege, I think it's safe to say that Pecharunt will provide poison. If this is the case, that's 14 Tera types accounted for, meaning only 4 remain. So this is what we have so far. Liko, Roy, and Dot will presumably provide grass, fire, and water. Anne, Penny, and Nemona will seemingly contribute ground, fairy, and fighting. The heroes have ice, normal, rock, dark, bug, and dragon covered. This last one will be provided by Rayquaza, whose Tera type is revealed to be dragon in this preview. Diana will most likely provide poison, and Amejo will cover ghost. So the types they will still need are flying, electric, psychic, and steel, which remain completely unaccounted for based on everything we've seen so far. The preview itself doesn't clearly indicate who will provide them, so all we can do is guess. In theory, steel could be covered by Tinkaton, electric could be covered by Kilowattrel, flying could be covered by Cap, and the psychic could be covered by Hatterene. The only issue is that a trainer can normally only Terastallize one Pokemon at a time. If Liko, Roy, and Dot will Terastallize their starters for the final battle, then they technically won't be able to Terastallize Hatterene, Kilowattrel, and Tinkaton as well, unless Pagogo allows them to. If this doesn't happen, then they still need external sources for those remaining 3 types. I say 3 instead of 4 because I feel Cap will provide flying because of how narratively important he is. He is integral to Horizons, and Pagogo allowing him to Terastallize in episode 121 was a very significant moment. Fried has a Tera Orb, so he can definitely Terastallize Cap. Speaking of Fried, he could potentially, alternatively, provide Psychic with his Starmie, assuming it's in its normal form and not Mega Evolved, because it's unclear whether a Mega Evolved Pokemon can even Terastallize. His Charizard can Terastallize too, of course, but this won't help unless Fried changes its Tera type, since Moltres has Dark covered already. Charizard could provide flying as well. As for Ult, it seems he doesn't have access to Terastal, at least not yet, so his Dragonite likely won't be able to contribute flying, and the Sableye 2 types are already covered. Now, I am of course assuming that Pokemon will Terastallize into a type they already have, which is the most common pattern. But we already know Horizons isn't strictly following this, since Gouging Fire's Tera type is, for some inexplicable reason, Rock, despite it not being a Rock type. This suggests that the writers are willing to bend the norms slightly for the sake of the story, likely to make sure all 18 Tera types can be represented in a satisfying way with important characters. So basically, we still have 4 Tera types that are seemingly unaccounted for, and while I feel pretty confident that Cap will cover flying, this still leaves Steel, Electric, and Psychic up in the air. There are no other major characters in the poster or preview that could provide these types, so either some familiar characters will step up in unexpected ways as a surprise, or Pagogo will allow multiple Pokemon per trainer to Terastallize, which would be cool since it could mean Hatterene, Kilowattrel, and Tinkaton will get more time to shine, but also boring because having 12 different trainers battling side by side would be more epic and exciting. Finally, the other key thing shown in this preview is that Roy and Ult will battle Rayquaza. This immediately calls back to earlier in the series when Rayquaza had yet to join them and they had to repeatedly battle it to prove themselves before it finally accepted them. Obviously, we are well past that by now. Rayquaza is clearly on their side, so this battle likely isn't about proving worthiness. Instead, I suspect it's more of a warm-up or a way for Rayquaza to regain its edge after being dormant for so long, shaking off the rust, getting back into the rhythm of combat, and used to real battles again before the final battle. However, I could also see this battle serving a deeper purpose. It could very easily be a way for Rayquaza to measure just how far Roy has come since the last time they fought, because it has been a long time since that battle. Roy is far more experienced, confident, and capable now than he was back then, so it would make sense that Rayquaza wants to test him to see how much he's evolved. On top of that, this could also be a way to assess whether Roy and the others are truly ready for the final battle. Are they actually strong enough to take on the explorers at full power and ultimately vanquish Laquium for good? There's also the fact that Rayquaza doesn't really know Ult. They've only met once, and Ult wasn't even there a year ago when Liko and friends were gathering the 6 heroes or during any of the previous battles with Rayquaza. So it wouldn't be surprising if Rayquaza also wants to test this new guy, so to speak, to see if he's truly up to par and worthy of standing alongside Roy and the others in something this important. And then, on top of all of this, there's another very interesting possibility. Rayquaza is the only one of the 6 heroes who still has its ancient Pokeball, meaning this battle could also be about Roy earning the right to catch it for real this time, since last time it was temporary. He simply held onto it until Lucius, its rightful owner, could return. But now that Lucius is gone, maybe this is Roy's chance to actually claim Rayquaza as his own. Ult also wants to catch Rayquaza, so this battle could be about proving themselves worthy of that honor. In the end, it could be any of these reasons, or honestly, probably a combination of several or all of them. But regardless, this should be an exciting battle. Since the preview shows, it's definitely going to be an all-out clash. Roy clearly won't hold back. He will Terastallize Skeledirge, Mega Evolve Lucario, and the Kilowattrel will battle too. We also see Sableye, and I assume that Ult will use Dragonite. He might even Mega Evolve it or Sableye. Also, the preview, again, shows that Rayquaza will battle while Terastallized, revealing its Tera type, which is, unsurprisingly, Dragon. Finally, for real this time, the poster at the end of the preview features Zygarde in its complete form. This isn't really shocking because at the end of episode 125, Amedio straight up said that Zygarde still had the potential to get even stronger, which can only really mean one thing. Complete Form Zygarde is way stronger than 50% Zygarde, so I think the explorers are cooked. But yeah, I'm honestly extremely excited about what Horizons has in store for us. It looks like we are about to get some high stakes battles, major character moments, and several characters stepping up into even bigger and more important roles. Everything is shaping up towards what feels like an Avengers Endgame level showdown. A bunch of characters coming together to face one overwhelming threat. Obviously, each of these upcoming episodes will get their own individual previews, and assuming they reveal enough new and exciting information, I will of course cover them as well, and I will also review all these episodes eventually, so please stay tuned for all of that. But for now, this special preview has made one thing very clear. Horizons is about to go all in, and I cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who will provide each Tera type? Who will provide the remaining ones? Are you excited for these upcoming episodes? Will Roy and Ult defeat Rayquaza? Who will win between Liko and Anne, Roy and Nemona, and Dot and Penny? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, feel free to click the links on screen. And if you'd like to support the channel and help me keep making content like this, you can find all the ways to do so in the description and in the pinned comment. Whether it's through a small donation or just watching and sharing, every bit of support means the world to me. Thank you so very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.